Yeah, that's the only way. You got to do Luke Skywalker style, where you empty it out and sleep in that stinky ass camel carcass. What's up, bigots? We're live. We're live with Jay Dyer, co-host Jay Dyer for the debates here. I wanted to keep it fair and balanced. You know, I mean, we got to represent all the generations. You know, we have me representing the young, up and coming, like best rapper generation. You know, just amazing, really good looking, handsome, and then we've got co-host more accessible to the boomer generation, Jay Dyer. You know, just less handsome, less, yeah, there he is, Jay. Very exemplary.
Yeah, I was just getting some advice from Tristan on carnivore solutions to when you get a headache. And Tristan said that Spheric says the way to cure this is to gut out a horse, and you have to sleep in the horse carcass overnight, like Luke does with the tauntaun. Basically, you'll wake up and your headache will be gone.
Absolutely, yes. You have to sleep. You must sleep inside the carcass. That's the only natural way. And when you're there, if you do not consume all of its blood, you are mentally ill.
Thank you, little eights. I thought I would come with full soy face to your.
I mean, this is what we need. I mean, that's the face to heal the nation. I mean, this is it's the 2020 presidential debates. We've got who are these striking gentlemen that we see on the screen here? Jay is he's really into.
They're the senior boomer committee boomers from the boomer committee.
Yes, we've got two of the top boomer.
We're here to advise on the boomer committee on the official boomer practice of how to be a boomer and to avoid anti-boomer rhetoric during this boomer debate.
That's what he's saying right now.
We just want to go ahead and reiterate that "okay, boomer" is not a viable answer to any of the questions in this debate.
Anyone using the phrase "okay, boomer" will be removed from the auditorium.
We want to go ahead and thank Consumer Reports for sponsoring this program, as well as New Balance for being the official shoe of all boomers. Please.
I want to say, too, the New Balance is a nice kind of sneaker. I have a lot of factories in Africa that produce New Balance, and they're really quality shoes. When we get the numbers down, there'll be plenty of shoes to go around.
Gil Bates, everybody, Gil Bates. And I'm offended. Why isn't Gil Bates? We need to have Bill Gates actually moderating this. Like, who are these boomers? We need real moderation. I'm also offended. Why no Greta on the ticket? You know, like, how about like a Greta as White House science czar or something?
President. Yeah. Why have you stolen my future?
So I guess we're voting on which candidate is going to steal Greta's childhood this year, 2020 debate. This is it's clearly very important. Let's tune in, listen to what Mr. Frank Fahrenkopf. This is a very important, distinguished gentleman. He's from the Commission on Presidential Debates, and he's the co-chair. Let's hear what he's going to say.
Just ascertain who they're going to vote for. Now, exactly at 9 o'clock, you're going to hear a lot of noise behind you. If you turn around now, you can take a quick look. There's 3 on this side and 3 on this side. And these are the major nets. And at 9 sharp, you're going to hear them all go on air. And so it makes a little noise. So don't be afraid by it. And
Don't be afraid. You're going to see the screens in front of you. They're going to show pictures of men's faces. The faces will be moving.
Old folks home? Like, what is this debate being hosted?
You may hear.
When you see the moving pictures on the screen, they're not real people. They're not going to jump out of the screen. They're not 10 feet tall.
We assure you, Donald Trump will not jump out of the screen and grab your pussy. But just in case, women, please keep your pussies covered. You never know. You never do know.
Gonna be huge.
Yeah, I know it's kind of obvious, but I'm really mystified trying to figure out how this is going to happen. I mean, Joe Biden is basically a dementia patient. How is he going to do this? I really have no idea what's going to happen here. This seems ludicrous to me.
Yeah, I am pretty dumbfounded as well. I want to see. Well, we were talking beforehand. mask or no mask, right? Is Big Uncle Joe going to come out with a mask, right? Is he gonna stand up to Corn Pop and walk out, strut out with that badass swagger that Joe Biden is always, straight shooter Joe Biden, career politician, philanthropist, I guess, something like that. Joe Biden, is he going to come walking out with the mask and show solidarity, right, against this terrible disease, or is he going to come out maskless and rebel without a cause? What's he
Why
going to
are
go
these
for?
two boomers up there without masks? That's my first question.
Yeah, I'd like to put a muzzle on both of these gentlemen. Let's throw a muzzle on them. They need their face diapers. Jay Dyer this stream was cut for. There we go.
Oh, I was closing that door because it was echo.
We put Jay Dyer on timeout for ageism. He was penalized for ageism here.
Well, you're penalized. You know all about that. Get it?
I don't get it. How?
I'm not going to explain that to you.
Please explain.
Filthy-minded individual.
What? You said it, Jay. You said it.
Penalized?
Like a penal colony? I don't get it.
In your mind, there's a whole colony of penises? That's gross, dude.
That's gross. Jay. Wow. Took the words right out of my mouth. Hey,
Is that what you're trying to set up in Ecuador? A penal colony?
that's what we are setting up. We're here live from the Mud Hat Penal Colony here in Ecuador. Here, let's listen to these gentlemen. They're probably saying really important things right now.
1,000. The goal of the debate watch is not to say who won or who lost, but to share views with those who agree and those who don't, to listen respectfully to each other's opinions.
Pretty sure the
We
point
are
of the debate
pleased
is to
that
see
the
who won and
Commission's
lost.
long-standing supporters.
Well,
Pretty sure
or
that's what debates for,
yeah,
but
yeah, or to with these debates, they usually frame the questions in a very specific way to make it to where, right? It's like the questions will be, well, what are you going to do about the Iran security issues? And it's like we'd see who can out neocon the other candidate. So
yeah, what's the favorite BS we always hear? Jobs. Yeah, jobs. The jorbs, right? We got to hear about the jorbs, the jobs,
The economy.
economy, and the jobs. Right?
The economy, but now you'll get COVID talk thrown in there, right? It's like, well, your economy,
good point.
but what about all those poor people that died because of you, Trump? We're gonna see some debate over what is the best way to further surveil everybody biologically, like at every single level, physically with their devices, and then how are we gonna surveil people's the biological? How are we gonna surveil their gender fluids? And who's going to be the better candidate for biotech and big tech, essentially, will be one of the important topics tonight.
This looks like a couple that's going to do like a Baptist or a Southern gospel solo. They look like they're about to sing something in the Baptist church, like the Gaither gospel couple.
Just wanted to go ahead and come up here and go ahead and start casting out some demons in the name of our Lord.
Praise the Lord.
I just want to go ahead and cast out all the demons out of all of America. Just let's go ahead and cast them on out now. Go on out of here, demons. Leave.
Into the water, way out a little bit deeper.
Go ahead and leave America, demons. We don't need you anymore, demons. We don't want you. Go ahead and leave. Leave America.
How many times do you think Trump will play up the jorbs?
The jobs.
My administration created the best opportunity for jobs this country's ever seen.
How many times are you going to hear the jorbs talk?
Yeah, that'll. Well, they'll tie that in with race too, right? Donald Trump has done more for black people than any other president ever in the history of America ever. I've done more for blacks than anybody ever. And then Joe Biden will call him a racist, of course, or just insinuate racism. All right,
Did you hear the hoopla?
Carnists will try
Oh,
to
hold on.
befriend you. They'll try to say
Hear the
the
hoopla.
vegan ideology, you've been brainwashed, come over here.
Sorry, we got.
That's brainwashing. That is the actual brainwashing.
We have some bigots in the chat who actually enjoy the stream here, supporting the stream. Let me see here. We got super chat. Remember, super chat's master mandatory, and so are those super chats. Streamlabs the best way, guys. Streamlabs the best way. Let me read. Where'd that go? Where'd that go? We got Streamlabs here from Top Bigot in the chat. What's up, everybody? We got to banter with the chat a little bit. What's our chat doing? Chicken Parm 152 donates $5. Says, I am not a bigot. I am donating my good global citizen internet points, the USD flavor, to Tristan in the hopes that he will someday be able to break free from being a small farm shill and science denier and just trust the experts. Wear a mask, bigot. Thank you. That warmed my heart. Well worded.
You want to find out? Find out.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Find out.
Uh-oh.
You come at me and you'll find out how strong I am eating a plant-based diet.
Who is this?
Okay? You'll find out.
Well, he's drinking his Ensure.
Dude, that's Pedialyte, dog. Come on. That's Pediasure. No,
He's got his Boost shake.
DV, known as Canadian 5 through Super Chat, says, some support, you bigots. Biden is expecting a bunch of Dr. Gregor's shirtless Hawaiian teens to debate on his behalf tonight. Shirtless teens
That's all.
in
It's just like a
Hawaii.
bunch of Hawaiian teens with their shirts off.
Shirtless teens in Hawaii.
With their shirts off, you know.
Calm down, Gregor. Doctor.
You need a bobblehead, a Gregor bobblehead.
Dude, that's what we need, and it's on a treadmill, of course. We need to change, like, the meme, the online meme of the Coomer face needs to change to Dr. Gregor's face. Yeah, soy face, Dr. Gregor. You got like permanent soy face, resting soy face. There's a good internet handle for you guys. Resting soy face. Oh man. So all right, guys. Remember,
She's still singing her Gaither gospel songs up there.
let's listen. We've been interrupting. We've been really rude, and this chick looks familiar though. Let's hear.
To our nation's democratic process, and thank you all for watching.
How many Xanax did she pop tonight?
My administration created one
Thank you, Tom and
zillion
Barbara,
jobs.
very much. Most valuable player award for this evening goes to Toby Cosgrove. We couldn't have done it without you.
All right.
Thank
Look
you.
at these losers. Look at these dorks with their masks.
Housekeeping bit for the
I'm so glad to
audience.
see you.
As
Oh,
soon as this debate is
they're
over,
social
you can remain
distanced.
seated. You will be shown which way to.
Look, don't worry, everybody. Trump has all his women muzzled. Look at
Would
this.
like to now introduce
Look at
Chris
your
Wallace,
masks.
the moderator of this evening's debate.
Oh. Do you see all that solidarity, everybody? Look at all those face diapers. Good global citizens. Wait, why is it muted? His mic's not working. Homie's mic is off. Unless Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't hear Christopher Wallace.
You just heard the woman who announced him.
Yeah, the lady was talking, but his mic's done. We
Oh,
can't.
that's right. Yeah, I could hear her.
Boomer tech.
This wannabe Dan Rather. I like how they put the Constitution is on the back.
Skateboarding teens
Oh.
in Hawaii.
Hello.
Right, and you just imagine them shirtless all day. Right.
Yeah, right.
Shirtless all day.
Right. Are you sure that's what you imagine? Maybe you. Maybe you. There are a few new. If you guys haven't been to the streams lately, there are a few new, really cool, and awesome, and hip, and lit, and dope, and woke, and I don't know all the adjectives that the kids use these days. Notifications, so you guys send them super chats. If you guys want your questions read, if you want your comments read, if you just want to tell Jay that I'm a better rapper than him, go ahead. Send that via the Streamlabs. That's the best way to support.
In other words, if you want to lie on stream, if you feel like you are committed to lying on stream, then say that, yeah.
I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that. It's okay. All right.
7 billion jobs.
7.8 billion jobs are coming. Let's see. What is wrong with this? What is wrong with you? What if maybe there's a different feed. Huh. Am I not able to hear anything on this? Where's my audio?
They turned off the audio.
They turned off the audio for everybody or something? What's up with this?
Except for what? Probably for Fox or something. Wouldn't that be weird if they did that?
Here, let's see if...
No volume on. People are saying that the other ones don't have volume either.
So none of the streams have volume on them? Let's see if I could find a different ABC News.
For the soul of this nation.
With so much on the line, the wait is over. Donald Trump.
At no time before have voters faced a clearer choice between two parties.
Dang.
Joe Biden.
Who we are as a nation, what we stand for, and most importantly, who we want to be. That's all on the ballot.
Face to face. The
Look,
main event starts.
it's all empty
right
rhetoric.
now. The first presidential debate, live from Case Western Reserve University.
Yeah, but if you look at how serious Trump's face is.
Oh, it's serious stuff, man. Did you know that this is the most important election ever, Jay? This is the only election of its type. This is either if the one party that you like doesn't win, everything is gonna go to shit. It's gonna be terrible. But if our guy gets in, we're good. We're good if our guy gets in. Remember, we're both neutral though, because we're trying to.
D levels tested once before I supplemented, and I had the D levels of an institutionalized elder, like these people who are like in nursing homes.
So there's a man that you could actually vote for. I would vote for Dr. Greger.
Tristan, are you testing the D levels in your penal colony?
I don't get your jokes, dude. Like, what does D levels have to do with like prisons and penal colonies? Why are you laughing at me? All right, whatever, man. I don't get it. Let me come here. I got some super chats to read. Finally, friggin' stingy ass bigots in the chat. Shout out to Jay Dyer. You guys make sure to check out Jay's channel if you don't already know. Jay Dyer on YouTube. He runs jaysanalysis.com as well. We got a $1,000 million super chat from Just for Kicks, sending $1,000 million. No, I'm kidding. Just for Kicks. Thank you for the generous super chat. Sent $20. Says my donation through Streamlabs just amplified my non-bigotousness. Sorry, Dems. Your party is pushing the Antichrist agenda. Guess it's MAGA. So we got Just for Kicks. He's down for the MAGA. We got the MAGA clan here. I reported him for hate speech for saying the word MAGA, though. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hidden Knowledge donates $5 through super chat. Says, here's the hoping we'll get to see Biden challenge Trump to a push-up contest. Time to get in that octagon, right? I'd like to see. I hope he calls him Jack. I hope he says, "Hey, listen here, Jack. Listen here, Jack. Listen here, fat."
It's funny that Trump calls him a beautiful. He calls him Slow Joe. That's pretty funny.
Dude, Trump's got some funny lines. Sleepy Joe Biden. I mean, that one's stuck.
Yeah, Slow Joe.
Sleepy Joe. And he has a nice pause, and he always remembers to give the little jabs. He does a good job with that. It's hard to tell. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen as far as like the results of the election go, Jay? Any predictions?
The election?
Yeah, the election. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win this one?
Trump will win on the landslide.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But that will lead to the crazy chaos that's coming.
No way.
No, I'm serious.
No. Yeah, no, it's. I think it's kind of obvious to everyone that's what's going to go down, right? I mean, they're pretty blatant with.
They've been saying they're going to pull out the military, have a coup, forcibly remove Trump. I mean, they're going to have this whole fiasco of Trump's not going to step down. They're going to contest it. It's going to drag out, and then they're going to try to have this military coup type of thing. They've been saying that for months now. It's crazy.
Let's see if they got audio again. Still no audio on this one.
Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential debates between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers from each candidate to the first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns
I haven't watched anything like this since
2016.
Probably, yeah.
Same here, man. I mean, those debates were pretty entertaining. They didn't convince me.
They were, exactly.
They didn't convince me to vote, but they were entertaining.
I didn't vote either.
I mean, by the end of the 2016 roundabout, I was just. I think a lot of people are feeling the same now. It's so exhausting when you try to follow this shit.
I went and voted for the Christian monarchy candidate, which was me, so I wrote myself in as the monarchy candidate.
There you go. But so Jay, what do you think about the institution of democracy? Let's get a hot take. The democratic institution, savior of mankind, or pee-pee in the poo-poo butthole?
Fahake and Gahey.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah.
And that's the GHEY version.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You know, it's funny, this whole idea that like if you just vote in the right guy, if we just get the right guy in this year, it's all going to be good. Everything's going to change for the better.
Yeah, it's funny that Quigley said that it's been at least 100 years since elections were basically theater. So. Maybe 100 years ago, you had a vote, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, if you think about it, isn't the whole notion of voting kind of silly? Joe didn't come out in a mask. No mask.
Here we go.
And our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you know, hard over the weekend to succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight, why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think...
What kind of question is this? What is
this?
Why are you right and your opponent wrong?
2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way,
Tremendous, just
in fact,
tremendous.
Some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time. Even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right to choose her. And very few people knowingly would say otherwise. And by the way, the Democrats, they wouldn't even think about not doing it. If they had, the only difference is they're trying to do it faster. There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also, definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Come on, Biden.
2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this, and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you,
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States. They're not going to get that chance now because we're in the middle of an election already. The election has already started.
Love that face Trump always does when the other guy's talking. He goes.
So the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is, because that's the only way the American people get to express their view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that, he ran on that, and he has been governing on that. He's in the Supreme Court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now, if it goes into court. And the justice, and I'm not opposed to the justice, she seems like a very fine person. But she's written before she went on the bench, which is her right, that she thinks that the Affordable Care Act is not constitutional. The other thing is on the court, and if it's struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally changed. Once again,
What if Trump just like right now just interrupts him and goes, Biden said the N-word backstage.
the same exact procedure a man gets. And that ended when we, in fact, passed the Affordable Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election. If he wins the election and the Senate is Democrat or Republican, then he goes forward. If not, we should wait until February. All right.
There aren't 100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. Okay, Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next election.
During that period of time, we have an opening. I'm not elected for 3 years. I'm elected for 4 years. And the 100 million people, Joe.
The election started.
People is totally wrong. I don't know where you got
I like this.
The president is president for 4 years.
This seems to be the talking point with the Democrats. It's like this is so immoral that the Republicans, that a Republican president would dare nominate a Supreme Court justice during his presidency. They're so upset about this. I don't know what.
I mean, Rufus Ginsburg was a vile creature,
right? She was a tremendous old witch.
Really the best at eating babies. You can't really the best.
I like how Trump always says this one hand movement where he goes like this.
Yeah, like how wide is it? It goes smaller and then it goes wider. It's tremendous.
He's playing an invisible, what's that instrument?
Did you? Somebody made a music video of Trump playing an accordion, and they mixed.
Accordion. Okay.
Somebody actually memed that. They edited the video and they like video shopped the freaking accordion in there with the music and everything. It was brilliant.
Rufus Ginsburg should be replaced.
The 200,000 people that have died on his watch, they're
200 million people. The 200 billion people that have died.
COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act?
Joe,
it means they don't have to go to the your government kill factory hospitals when they do get sick.
200 million.
200 billion people have already died.
Because you were very late on the draw. You didn't want me to ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
all right, gentlemen,
Europe, which was heavily infected. You would have been much later, Joe.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
You're talking about 2 million people.
You're not President, as the moderator. We are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
But Joe brought it up, didn't he?
Is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade? That's on the ballot as well in the court.
My infanticide is going to go away.
And so the election is all.
You don't know it's on the ballot. Why is it in the ballot?
Because
why is it on the ballot? It's not on the ballot.
It's on the ballot in the court.
I don't think so.
In the court.
Well, there's nothing happening there.
Donald, would you
and
just
you don't know
reply
her Roe v. Wade.
I don't know.
All right, let's talk.
Dude, Joe's pissed. He's already almost at his wit's end. He's about to snap.
On healthcare, and then we'll come back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election.
Can I just say, like, when I left...
what I like about this is that they are letting them interrupt, because if it wasn't allowing interruptions, this wouldn't be entertaining at all.
No.
Because presidential debates suck, typically. They're usually just about PR.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that just for entertainment value, Trump really triggers Joe and he rage quits. That would be awesome.
It would be good if he just got him to really stumble a lot, like just got him
a bunch of retarded stuff like he usually does.
Yeah, get him right backed up into the corner of his little crooked mind. That would be entertaining. Man, Trump's got that hunchback going on. He's got that presidential posture. That's sitting at a damn desk your whole life posture. Here, let me turn the volume up.
Obamacare, I got rid of it.
I'd like
and we will protect people.
President, I'm the moderator of this debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer your
ahead.
question. You,
Mr. President, why are you racist?
Never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you
going after Chris
signed
Wallace,
a
too, this
largely
morning.
symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question,
We're like
sir,
10
is
minutes
what
in and it's
is
already-
the Trump healthcare plan?
Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay, I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. There's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations, which no president has the courage to do because you're going against Big Pharma. Drug prices will be coming down.
There's something that, I've been real critical of Trump, but there's some things that he's done that I do like. That seems like a, pretty decent move by Trump. It does seem like Pharma is not too happy with that move, but he's also appeasing Big Pharma big time and kind of dancing with the whole Bill Gates, Gavi, Fauci crowd. So it's very hard to tell. It's hard to tell what he's really trying to do, if he really knows what he's doing, or if it's, I don't know. It can be hard to read sometimes. The Obamacare, I got to say, like before we left the U.S., that was a big reason on why we wanted to leave the U.S., right? The Obamacare, when you go back and you read some of the...
They're arguing about the debate. They're debating about the debate. This is hilarious.
Right?
I'm not trying to cut you off.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah, let's go back.
To Obamacare.
Anyway. I don't want the government to have my health records. I don't want the government being in control of my health care. I don't want anything to do with with government health care or these massive insurance companies behind Obamacare. So I don't.
Party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid
Like everyone, if we get our way.
in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would, Medicaid would automatically be
You should have one of
enrolled
these
in
things.
the public option.
How
The
dare
vast
you?
majority of the American people would
How
still
dare
not be
humanity
in that option.
as a
Number one.
species,
You
the
agree
most
with Bernie
destructive,
Sanders, far left,
the
on the
horriblest,
manifesto, we call it,
the
manifesto
cruelest
socialized medicine.
species
Look, hey,
Are you
that's
saying
ever
that?
listen,
walked
the fact of
on
the matter
planet
is,
Earth.
I beat
We got a super chat from Just For donating
This is
$10.
already chaos, this debate.
Yeah, this is, how I would have expected it. Look at Joe. Look how pissed. Hey, we got Just For that says, head bigot, can you put an over-under till we get the Biden super slip-up?
make sure because.
What do you mean over-under? What's an
Here's the
over-under?
deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree.
want to make
Joe,
sure.
you're the
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't.
He laughs at him.
You know,
You pick, be surprised. Go
the
ahead.
wrong
Joe.
guy,
Be
the
surprised.
wrong night at
Go
the
ahead,
wrong
go ahead,
place.
Joe.
You agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders, so the
whole
manifesto.
idea-
Let him-
There is no manifesto. Number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
Folks,
Absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you
to.
have any
And under that
idea
plan,
what
you
this
socialized,
plan's
you
doing?
call it
Mr.
You
Medicare.
have any
President.
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
I'll
President.
tell you what, he is not for any help for people needing health care.
Call him racist. Hurry up. Get to the
Because
racist.
he, in fact, already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two, there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price
But-
because
and by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
Gentlemen, you realize if you're both speaking at the
It's no
same
good,
time.
and it's too expensive.
Let the president, go ahead, sir.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better. And I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guaranteed pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, that they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well or badly? If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people, okay? I said, you got to run it so well.
That's what he's
And I
doing.
just had a meeting with them. They said the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive,
I got you.
premiums
I
are
got
too
it.
high, and
That's
it
what
doesn't
his
work.
people- that's
So
what his people
we
say.
do want to
No,
get
no,
rid of it.
it's
Chris,
an
we
open-
want to get rid of it.
I know a lot of doctors who really don't like the whole Obamacare situation. This whole, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous how much of a foothold Big Pharma has just globally.
Yeah, it's a scam.
It's insane. It's insane that anybody would trust their government and Big Pharma.
It's obviously not about giving everybody healthcare. Anybody who believes that is literally totally low IQ and naive.
And what we're going to see now, when you see movement towards like planetary health guidelines and stuff like that, we're seeing more rhetoric about planetary dietary guidelines even.
Yep.
These big foundations, huge NGOs, transnational corporations, all pushing for essentially planetary governance over our health. And this whole COVID crisis is the vehicle, is you've talked about many times. Brzezinski talked about the arc of crisis. This is the arc of crisis, the new arc of crisis for a new generation. This COVID situation is like September of the first year of the 2000s all over again every day. And it's about surveillance of everything, including what's in your body. Constant surveillance.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people missed, was the global elite talking about how they would use the back door of health and pharmaceuticals, owning and running health.
Yes.
Right, to bring in the new world order, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, COVID, diseases, flus, viruses are the new terrorists. They're everywhere. They could be your children. They could be in your children. And we might have to separate your children from your families in order to protect you from it, So this is something you're not going to hear at all in this debate. You're not going to hear any debate about the massive biotech takeover of everything. We're not going to see, very likely, any pushback against this global technocracy that's being erected. And, just be more football issues like Obamacare, jabs, and who's the bigger racist, who likes black people more, who's the sexist, who's the bigot.
Well, again, I'm bigger and stronger than you, so I won't worry too much.
Oh, there we go.
Million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far, and what you have said you would do starting in 2021, why should the American people trust you more than your opponent to deal with this public health crisis going forward? In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So cue trust science rhetoric from Joe Biden.
200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%.
7 million infected according to PCR exams, which are not meant to diagnose viruses. There's that fucking guy.
People in the chat are asking if I'm bored. I'm not bored. I'm just so tired of the Karanka. We've been hearing about this for almost a year now.
Is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are.
There you go.
That's why.
Great rhetoric, Joe. It is what it is because you are who you are.
He hasn't laid out any.
Boomer cliches. It is what it is.
Back in February,
Boomers love that cliche. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do? He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out back in March exactly what we should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House will pass.
Face diapers for everyone.
To go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
Save lives.
So if we would have listened to you.
You have 2 minutes, sir.
If we would have listened to you,
Thank you.
the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000. And one
Millions.
person is too much. It's China's
The
fault. It
experts-
should have never
the
happened.
experts, the
They stopped
scientists
it from
said
going in, but it
millions.
was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in
This whole
China.
thing is so stupid.
You
See,
don't know
now,
how many people-
it's such a great example though, of how
why-
media really runs the narrative. It's not like these politicians set the narrative, right? Trump's constantly responding to media. They're always the ones calling for this rhetoric, calling for, oh, let's talk about what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We need more tracking and tracing. And
You know, Biden has said 200 million people have died.
yeah,
He doubles down on it. It's insane.
Trump should have brought that up.
I think he just did. He was saying, you don't even know how many people died.
I'm doing it early. In fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of you Democrat governors said President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. In fact, people that would not be necessarily on my side said that. President Trump did a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
We did. We
Tremendous.
got the gowns, we got the masks, we made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators. And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job. The only thing I haven't done a good job, and that's because of the fake news. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press, they give me bad press, because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was
A
no
very-
economic recession.
Sir, you made a
Far
There was
less
no
lethal
recession.
disease.
You made a point. Let him answer.
And there was no one.
There's no pushback. But what about lockdowns and all this nonsense? Like, why are there no debates on all these lockdowns? Why is there no talk about everybody losing your so-called constitutional rights? Where's that?
How many of you were in a situation where you lost your mom or dad and you couldn't even speak to them? You had a nurse home.
Yeah. That's because of the government. That's because of government intervention.
So everyone's dead, and it's because of.
No, but I do. I'm sure you know people whose parents may have died during this time, and they weren't able to have a funeral. They weren't able to be with their grandparents or their parents when they passed away because of these insane restrictions. Like, so many people, so many families were destroyed by this. But no talk about the damage that this has done, the damage of all these lockdowns and this economic shutdown, this freaking controlled demolition of the whole economy. No talk about that. And why doesn't Trump push back on that?
And gentlemen, let me move on to questions about the future. On two of the questions I'm going to ask, focusing on the future first. President Trump, you have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control
Starts
Dr.
out the
Redfield said it
question
would
with
be
you deny
summer
science, Trump.
before the
You
vaccine
hate science.
would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have
Trust
to speak
Pfizer.
to. We have great
Trust
Moderna,
them.
Johnson & Johnson, and others.
good.
They can go faster than that by a lot.
Tremendous.
Very political because the left, or I don't know if I call
So
them
you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what I
that
call
the
them.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui?
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
He talked about the summer, sir, before it's generally available. Just like
He said
Dr.
it's a
Redfield.
possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also
I'm
be
talking about
after
when it's
that.
generally available. not
Well,
when
we're
it's
going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This is
delivering
the
them.
same.
It's all set up.
I'm not having any difficulty. Again, I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you.
Yeah. So we got the military ready to inject everybody. Lovely. This is amazing. Do you guys feel safe? The military is going to help you. They're going to help you get your little happy, healthy, safe, untested genetic modification medicine injections. I don't know about that. We got some super chats. Aaron Burrows donated $3 through super chat. Already a train wreck. I should have gotten a drink, he says. Helen Guilford donates $4.99 through super chat. Says, I had to come here to watch this. I can't stand the lies from these two. Look, I mean, Jay and I, are you talking about just Jay? There's only one of Jay, and he hasn't lied that much so far. But, I mean, sorry. How you doing, Jay? I know you had a headache earlier, man.
I'm just
good.
I'm so tired of all of this nonsense. I mean,
but don't you want to know what's going to happen?
Thinking about like where can we run from this? I'm going to bring the military out to stab everybody.
Yeah,
stabbies, and then like
we're gonna.
They want this. They want this everywhere in the world. So you can see that the infrastructure of the world government is already in place.
Yeah. And it's all set up. All the third world countries have really been shut down, terrorized. The masks with holding spots, the mask holding place for the mandatory injections, and people fighting in the streets about masks. I mean, imagine what happens when the shots are around. You know, I mean, people are screaming at each other about masks in stores, and when the shot comes out, it's going to get crazy. I mean, as far as like where to go, I mean. It doesn't seem like there are many places to go. I mean,
no, it's not. I'm just saying, like that's my thought process is
right.
Where can I run?
Where can we run? Run to the hills. Run for your life. Jay, let's just sing 90s songs and
See
make
why
everything
you went
feel
into trying to be a rapper.
Sorry, I got to figure out how to kick Jay from Zoom. How do I boot him? Erase his name from the stream.
Your normal singing voice sounds like a grandma's normal singing.
Run to the hills. Run for your life. How about that?
Did you really kick me out of here? Where'd I go?
You're gone, dude. You're out. No, you're here. You still here? Are we gone?
I am. My picture's gone, but I'm still here.
Oh, wait, let's see what happens. Where's Zoom? Zoom's being all weird. I still hear you, but you're up in the corner. Here we go.
Is this my punishment, Tristan? I can't make jokes.
I pull your What the heck? Hold
notice Tristan's tactics, everyone.
There we go.
Notice his tactics.
All right. Go ahead and try to insult me again. We'll see what happens to your face.
He makes my face not exist.
No, go ahead and repeat that, and then I'll disappear your face again. Oh no, that was me. I disappeared myself. There you go. And Jay's gone. Ooh,
what are
sorry.
they talking about?
They're talking about the best way to get mandatory.
Oh, here comes the economy. Here we go.
The economy.
Be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to provide them
Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Shush.
And
Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Schuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he sits in his golf course and, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play
Think
more than
about
I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact?
Well, he wants to shut down this country, and I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election on November 3rd. Because it's a political. But those states are not doing
the fact.
It is like to ask yourself, yeah.
Increasingly
yourself cameo, the spirit of ask yourself.
Of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates.
What do you guys think? What's going on in the audience? Let's come over here. Let's banter with the chat.
I have to understand if you
The mask, the fact.
mask on, when I think I need it.
when I
Tonight,
think I
as an
need it.
example, everybody's had a test and you've had social distancing. and
Oh
all of
yeah,
the
if
things
everybody
that you
just
have to-
tests
I wear a
themselves and
mask
social
when
distance,
needed,
then we don't have to
when
wear a
needed, I
mask as
mask.
often.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't
We need
wear a
full
mask like him.
surveillance of
Every time I see him,
everybody.
He's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say
Vice President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. We provided money.
But I was asking you, sir, about masks.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore
Forever.
masks and social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives.
Oh.
It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said
no serious person said the opposite.
Everyone wear a
No
mask.
serious-
Yo, the face diapers for everybody. You get a face diaper. You get a face diaper. You get a face diaper. Jay Dyer gets the face diaper. Joe Biden gets the face diaper. Everybody gets face diapers.
You have campaigned. President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Hey, chat. Hey, chat.
Outside, yes,
You guys are awfully quiet over there with the super chats. We need you to cheer us up with some of those Streamlabs and super chats. Best way to support the stream is via Streamlabs. There's a link down in the descriptions. Link in the description. There's a link here. Let me throw up a link in the chat as well. Shout out to the mods up in the chat. We got OK and Chase, my prize mods.
He's saying that nobody shows up to Biden's rallies. That's pretty funny.
people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you
and
not worried
hangars,
about
and we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issue,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts. And we do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours notice. And Joe does the circles and has 3 people someplace.
Okay.
By the way,
Joe does the circles.
one of the last
Sleepy Joe does the
representatives we had,
circles.
And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back.
Dude, they should just. What if they did like a rap battle? How cool would that be? You know, like the last segment should be just battle rap. What do you think, Jay? Jay's writing his raps right now. He's writing his final raps.
We've had no negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect. And we've had 35, 40,000
All right,
people
you wanna-
at these rallies.
Just
Yes.
quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing
war.
and people wearing masks. Basically, encouraging
I have to say that Biden hasn't been
he's a
doing as
fool.
bad as I thought he would do, just from a standpoint of like he's not let Trump really get him shook.
Yeah, he's being kind of patient. In the
It seems
beginning,
like he's not really. I mean, I would have thought by now he'd already kind of be like bumfuzzled and saying gibberish. But
well, he's got a teammate in the moderator, right?
good point. Yeah.
Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as they had expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery. Vice President Biden, you say it's more of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump.
V versus K. What the hell is
We
this?
built the greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the plague came in, we closed it down, which was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong. And again, 2 million people would be dead now instead of still 204,000 people is too much. One person is too much. Should have never happened from China. But what happened is we closed it down, and now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4
Yeah,
million.
Amazon's doing record business. Walmart's doing record business. But there've been record small businesses have been shut down forever.
Friend you, they'll try to say the vegan ideology, you've been brainwashed, come over here. That's brainwashing.
Sorry.
That is the actual brainwashing.
Excuse me, we got our good friend here, Michelle, though, popping up. What were you saying, Jay?
Yeah, I mean the Karanka sure has served the Fortune 100 well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a surprise. The World Economic Forum isn't too bummed about it.
They can do whatever they want, but they got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, and these governors are under siege, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others, you got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce, look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs.
Suicide.
It's a very, very sad thing. and he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
Well, you allowed all this to happen, dude. You allowed all this. You fell for the rhetoric as well. You kind of fell under the wing of Fauci as well. I mean, what did you do to stop this? I guess, I guess it's up to the governors, it's up to the states to do it, would be what he would say. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen much pushback against all this lockdown stuff.
How dare you? How dare humanity, as a species, the most destructive, the horriblest, the cruelest species that has ever walked on planet Earth.
Thank you, climate activist, vegan activist. We got a couple super chats here. Let me read these. Thank you guys for the support. These streams happen because of you guys. You guys keep supporting, we'll keep streaming. DB donated $5, says Joe Biden wants everyone's PPs. I mean everyone wearing PPEs for their safeties. There we go. I just wrote that rap right now. What do you think about that, Jay? What, dude? All right, we got an anonym donated. Anonym. Killing it. Anonym floating the whole stream here with this big super chat. Sends $50. Thank you, Anonym. Says, thank you for your work. Keep it up. Greetings from Austria. Greetings over there in Austria. Thank you for the support. Appreciate it. What's it like, 4 a.m. over there? It's got to be real late.
Have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about it.
So you're going to shut it down. Shut it down, right?
All at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely.
No. You don't have to do anything to open them safely. It's no less safe than it was last year.
Because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing.
Where's the pushback on the dehumanization that they're doing in schools, right? Like making these children wear freaking plastic face masks, sitting in little bubbles, sanitizing their hands.
It has to put the Purell on its hands or it can't touch the pencils in the classrooms.
I mean, where's the pushback against all this stuff? And you're making children mentally ill. You're turning children into paranoid hypochondriacs, and you're spraying them and dousing them with toxic industrial chemicals all day. But, both candidates will sit here and talk about, oh, we got to make the schools safe. We got to get more surveillance into the schools. Mork, we need DNA surveillance in the schools. Right now, we got to blood test all the children daily. It's that's the solution, right? It's just more surveillance.
Proud of me, and
We're going to get back, gentlemen, we're going to get to your economic plans going forward in a moment. But first, Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, and 2017, your first year as president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other
Trump pays about 1/10 of what we get to pay. Right? That's crazy.
Dollars in federal income taxes.
Teach me, Trump.
Each of those 2 years.
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million one year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went.
Show us your sons.
Finished. You'll see it. If you want to go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under-leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and I built a great
I'm asking you a specific question, which
but
is...
let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that.
So they're always hot seat questions for Trump, and then just massive softballs for Biden.
How much you paid in federal income taxes...
he should call out Hunter on Ukraine.
Exactly. Yeah. Where's the talk about Hunter Biden, Ukraine, China? And why doesn't Trump bring it up? He should bring that up immediately. That's what he should do. He should be deflecting to that immediately if they're going to play that game.
Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid.
Jay, get it? Private?
The laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We built a building and we get tax credits like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. You get a massive, which by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that. Now the man got fired right after that happened. But
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
Yeah, I do want to respond. Look, the tax code that made him, put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher makes, on the money a school teacher makes, is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And we're going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who in fact need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Let me just tell you, Joe.
You're not invited to my birthday party.
In 47 months, I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward, because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you
Why didn't he call out Biden?
As soon as he starts digging his claws in, it seems like the moderator reels it in, right? As soon as it starts looking like he might.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening, yeah.
$1 trillion
He's
over
playing
a
good
decade
defense.
in new taxes.
And somebody mentioned in the chat, I guess this guy's from Fox News. I don't watch any of this shit. I don't watch Fox News.
Yeah, Chris Wallace was Fox. I mean, this is, I've done, hundreds of debates in my life, so I can watch and I can see the tactics. And you can tell when a moderator's obviously trying to aid one of the opponents. I was in a debate recently where the moderator on Discord was aiding one of the opponents. So that's exactly what they'll do, Tristan, that you pointed out, is that they see their guy getting backed into a corner, they jump in, reel it back. Exactly.
Yeah. We're not talking about right that now. We'll get to that later. Hold on. I wanted to ask you this. And it's a lot of personal questions to Trump, too. But I got to say, Trump should be throwing it back at him. But he's not throwing it back at him as hard as he could.
But respectfully, sir, I'm talking about taxes.
Father Deacon has a good point. Isn't it the American way to try to minimize paying taxes?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everybody tries to do that.
Yeah,
anybody who runs a business tries to avoid taxation.
Yeah, it's somehow a virtue to pay more in taxes, and it's sinful to not pay.
It's just a thing they pull out to make it sound like you're, avoiding taxation, when Biden himself is benefiting from international arms garbage, with Ukraine and all kinds of stuff like that. So.
And why isn't Trump bringing it up? I mean, he's talked about it before. He has talked about it before. He should be going hard on that.
But in Obama's, you talk about the economy booming. It turns out that in Obama's final 3 years as president, more jobs were created, 1.5 million more jobs than in the first 3 years of your presidency.
They had the slowest recovery economic recovery since 1929. It was the slowest recovery. Yeah. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Let me tell you about the stock market.
And so now Chris Wallace is like a champion of Obama. What world do we live in?
Yeah, no, it's funny. Fox News seems like it's gradually creeping in that kind of. I mean, Fox News has always been kind of neocon leaning, but now the Dems have kind of taken up the neocons torch.
The likes of which you've never seen.
Look, we inherited the worst recession short of a depression in American history.
Joe is like
I was asked to bring it back.
Matt Slick. He's a goblin boomer tard, like Father Deacon was pointing out. I mean, at least Trump isn't a goblin boomer tard. I mean, I don't know. It would be hard for me to come away convinced that Joe Biden is the guy to go for in this debate.
Well, who's coming into this debate undecided?
If I had to pick a candidate, I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that many people are watching this debate and thinking, I just don't know who I want to vote for. I'm going to see who really speaks for me and my neighborhood and my people in this debate. I don't think that's going on. I think a lot of people have had their mind made up. But the question is, like, does like the Democratic establishment really want Trump in? That's kind of a question. It's like, do they know they don't have a chance, or do they just want Trump in because they can get more done? Can more agenda be pushed under a Trump presidency than, say, a Biden presidency? I think so. I think Trump can get more done and can be influenced to do things, not even knowing he's doing these things and pushing in these directions of these agendas. And I think he's a better political pawn than somebody like Biden is. He pacifies a lot more people and keeps them distracted.
He talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before. We have the highest trade deficit
China
with
ate
Mexico.
your lunch.
All right, gentlemen.
China ate your lunch, Joe. And no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
None of that is true. Let him answer.
None of that is true.
Oh, really? He didn't get $3.5 million?
Mr. President,
Mr.
President, please.
Totally discredited.
Mr. President.
Totally discredited. And by the way.
Well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice
He got $3.5 million.
That is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr. President.
Keep going.
It's an open discussion, please.
It's a fact.
Well, you have raised an issue. Let the Vice President answer.
Discredited.
Did Burisma pay him $183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr. President,
My son did nothing
did it.
wrong.
I think he did.
My son did nothing wrong.
Let him answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth.
You're not
And
answering.
His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited.
By who?
And
The media?
By everybody. Well, by the media, by our allies, by the World Bank.
The World Bank. The World Bank debunked it.
Everyone has discredited. Matter of fact, even the people who testified.
He just says it's been discredited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what a terrible debate tactic. Oh, that's just discredited. Oh, conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory.
He testified under oath in his administration, said, I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh,
I
really?
did it
I'd like to know
honorably.
who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list of the
fire
people who
them.
testified.
No, go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did a good job.
Some people don't
Well,
do a
here's
good job.
the,
With you,
Go
they
ahead.
say,
Wait a minute. You get the final word, Mr.
well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this.
Hey, let me just
person.
tell you.
Mr. President,
$3.5
Mr.
million,
President.
Joe.
That is
Excuse me.
simply-
Why did he deserve
Excuse me, this
$3.5
person.
million from
Now he's
Moscow?
getting mad.
Here's the deal.
Yeah, he's
We wanna
getting.
talk
I knew
about
the
family
Ukraine thing would
Yeah.
I don't want
rile
to
him
do that.
up.
Well, I was hoping he would go hard on it before.
All
But
night. His family's
My
already.
family
already
lost
wrote
a fortune by coming down and helping
Go
us
ahead.
with
Go
government.
ahead, sir.
And that's
Every-
such a.
they're right
That's
here.
it, Mr. President.
Every single one of them lost.
This
a
is not
fortune
about
President.
my
and
family or
helping
his
us with
family. It's
government.
about your family,
They
the
didn't
American
put $3.5
people.
million
He
dollars.
doesn't. That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what
It
you
doesn't
need.
want to talk about
you,
It
the
doesn't
American
want to talk
people.
about.
It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
you
here.
should
All right, that's
Not
the end
about
of
it.
it.
Biden's slipping, man. The
Yeah,
amphetamines.
he's gonna get off kilter now.
The amphetamines are wearing off.
To be
No,
honest.
He stood up.
No,
He stood up.
the answer to
and
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you don't
that
get rid of
is
the
You know what?
absolutely not
Stop.
true.
tape
You're
doing it.
You're going to
Not
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen. I hate to raise my voice, but
he's
it's
on
easy.
tape.
He raises
Why should I
he's
be
gonna
different
shout
than
him
the two of
down.
you?
The
So
moderator's
here's
gonna
the
shout him down.
We have 6 segments. We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment. In that segment, you each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted
Moments?
minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people to speak with fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir, to do that.
Well, and him too.
Well, frankly,
Well,
you've been
mostly
doing more
you.
interrupting
Well, that's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
Well, less than, sir, less
There's
than,
plenty.
no, less than you have. Let's please
Wow.
continue on.
What?
The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago.
Man, Wallace
when
is
he
about to
talked-
send Trump to the vice principal's office if you know the shape up.
was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more for Black Americans than any president, with the
comes the
possible
red
exception
card.
of Abraham Lincoln. My question for the 2 of you is why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President
Because
Biden,
we're all
go
just
first.
waiting for the government to come and deal with race issues. That's what we need the government to do right now. Everybody's just begging for the government to deal with race issues.
We have never walked away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your
We never
eyes,
accomplished
remember what
it.
those people look like coming out of the fields carrying torches. They're
This
red
is
and
rehearsed.
Spewing, just
Spewing.
bile. And
Biden's losing it.
There it goes.
And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president's ever said anything like that.
It is his
Now,
Charlottesville. Back to
second
Charlottesville.
point
Okay.
is that when Floyd was killed, when Mr. Floyd was killed,
Well, Floyd
there was a peaceful
Mayweather
protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, had the military who used tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist
That's
hatred.
the new term,
racist
dog
division.
whistle. It's
This
a
is
dog
a man
whistle.
who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans.
Science. Listen to that science.
This man is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. Look, the fact is that you have to look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he did. And what he did has been disastrous for the African American community.
So what did he do? He didn't say what he did.
Why should Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with racism?
It's so crazy to see, like, I feel like the average American is looking at Trump as the more rational, sane. It's the same
Ukraine
thing.
thing really visibly shook Biden.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he can recover from that.
You have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country. You did the 1990, and that's why if you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them worse than that because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals, total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have Ohio, I have, Portland. The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at any place you want to look, Seattle, they heard we were coming in the following day and they put up their hands and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many cases radical left. And they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order.
You got me wrapped around your finger.
So I think Trump pulled the thing of waiting until the later rounds in the debate to pull out the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like that's what he's done here.
Yeah, he's pulling out the big guns.
As a tactic,
decided not to charge
Do
any
you
of the
have
police
to let it
with
linger?
homicide.
Do
You
you
said it
have
raises
to?
the question,
Do you
quote,
have to let
whether
it
justice
linger?
could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there's systemic injustice in this country. And
That was like a big that was a big essay soup there, Joe Biden. Come on, buddy. He's brewing some
the vast
soup.
majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples. And when they occur, when they find them, they have to be sorted out. They have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, to the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency in when these things happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable. And by the way, violence in response is never appropriate. Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right.
What is peaceful?
Violence is never appropriate. They called for the burning down of cities.
Burn down your stores
And the
kill
mostly
people in
peaceful
a place.
protest.
That is not peaceful.
President Trump,
No, it's
I'm not
not,
asking.
but you say it is.
President Trump, I'd like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order
Please.
in a moment. This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race theory. Why did you decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody
what
else.
is radical,
and he would know.
What is
it's
radical
totally
about
racist.
racial sensitivity training?
If you were a certain person, you had no
Fox
status in
News.
life.
There
It was
you
sort
go.
of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we
Woke
would pay
ass
people
Fox
hundreds
News.
of thousands
Fox-
of dollars.
Chris
to
Wallace
teach
standing
very
up
bad
for
ideas
critical
and
race
frankly,
theory.
very
Yeah.
sick ideas.
He's woke, man.
And really, they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's
Oh,
racist.
You just.
I know a lot more about this.
Nobody's doing it. He's racist. That's all he's got.
Nobody's
Fact
doing that.
is
He is racist.
there is
BTFO.
racial
Debate
insensitivity.
over. I'm
People have to
president.
be made aware of what other people feel like, what insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know. They don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people.
Hey, you know what insults me? Racial sensitivity training, you freaking dork. You know what insults my intelligence? All your stupid ass woke rhetoric. That's insulting to us. You're insulting our intelligence. You're insulting our souls. You're insulting us as
Everyone knows
human
this.
beings
Yeah,
with this
exactly.
shit. That's insulting Biden.
Look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are.
Just Joe Biden. Remember when he said that, what did he say? Poor kids are just as smart as white kids or something like that?
Yeah.
To bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
He
We
more
can take
racist.
this
He more
on. We can
racist.
defeat racism.
This is the heart of it. The heart of the issue in America. Who is more racist? Who can we pin as being more racist than the other? Amazing.
Many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but the
Lord.
reason
This
is
is
that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these
Absolutely
cities
ridiculous.
don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned.
violent
Are you in
crime.
favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow.
Are you
it,
in
and a little
favor
bit
of law and order? Go
Yes,
ahead,
I'm
say
in
it.
favor.
You
Everybody's
asked a
in favor
question,
of
let him finish.
Law and order.
Loses
Law
law
and
and
order.
order.
Let him answer.
Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration.
All right.
It's gone up on his watch.
Went down
He-
much more
He
in
had.
ours.
All right, we're
He
now.
is president of
Mr.
the
President,
United
you're going
States
to.
of America.
We
Mr.
were
President,
breaking every record in the
Mr.
book.
President, you're going to be very happy because we're not going to talk about.
You guys get 2 days of Jay Dyer here on Primal Edge Health. We nailed Jay Dyer down for 2 streams in a row. Tomorrow, Jay's coming on again. It'll be a little bit more fun stream tomorrow. None of this heavy, important talk about who's the biggest racist in the United States. Tomorrow, we're gonna have a fun stream. We're gonna have the second hour will be a if the vegan shows up. There's a vegan guy who wants to come on and debate, and he said he wanted to bring a friend. So yeah, I convinced Jay Dyer to come on for a stream. I'm always looking for an excuse to have Jay on. So again, Jay, thanks for coming on today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. And I know Jay, you have another show.
Are you ending the stream?
I'm kicking you off. No, I'm kidding. I'm getting. I thought you said you had another show that you had to do tonight. So if you do, let me know. Like
it's in 30 minutes. So this will probably be done by then. But if you are offended by my presence, I
want to be.
If I'm not sufficiently woke enough for you, then I will leave. That's what you need.
Yeah, no, you haven't complimented me much. I didn't know, like, if you haven't complimented my looks in a while or talked about.
I understand you need a safe space on this show. If you need that, I can leave.
Just want some validation. Like I put on my cute R.I.P. Epstein shirt. You didn't say anything. I even trimmed my hair the other day. No mention, but it's fine. You could stay. Just stay and don't comment on.
I'm just making some notes for after because we're going to be talking about it afterward. And I think Joe, I'm just looking at it from a debate perspective, just in terms of who's presenting and selling themselves better. Yeah. And how much longer is this debate, by the way? Like how?
Who knows? I think they said it was going to be 90 minutes, but I'm not sure if they have a hard stop. I'm not sure how they're going to.
How long have they gone?
They've been talking for at least an hour, so I'd say about 30 minutes left. Yeah, about an hour.
What do you predict? You think Trump's going to bring out more heat in the last 30 minutes, or is he going to save heat for the other? Is there 2 more debates?
I think he's going to save it for the last 2. If you remember 2016, it was similar. I mean, he brought out, was it the second or third debate when he brought out the Bill Clinton?
Because you'll be in jail. Right.
When he brought out the so-called rape victims.
He brought out the women.
Yeah. The Bill Clinton's ladies, he brought them out.
Right.
That was crazy. Yeah, I think he's going to save it for the last 2. I think Joe Biden, I don't know, Joe's slipping up a little bit. Let's see if he makes some more soups.
Them from having to use force and be able to talk people down. We have to have community policing like we had before, where the officers get to know the people in the communities. That's when crime.
Contact tracing corps. We need private Clinton initiative. Contact tracing community.
That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law support. He has no law enforcement
That's not
support.
true.
Almost nothing.
Look.
Oh, really? Who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
All right.
I don't have time to name one. I don't have time to name one.
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to.
That was a smart move.
Yeah.
And I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protest.
They coached Joe to look down and keep his eyes down, so in case he gets any weird facial twitches and stuff, he can't be scrutinized too much for that. So he seems like Joe.
Really? Does he actually? Are you being serious? Are you joking?
I really do. I think that they coached him to look down and during the questions and not have, because he doesn't have too much control over his social graces, I guess is how you call it. His face, look at his face.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He has this resting, confused face like a 70, 80-year-old man with dementia where he doesn't know where he is. So they tell him to look down, and it seems like I think that he's been coached to do that in order to not look a certain way to the audience.
In months of violence in Portland.
I don't hold public office now. I am a former vice president. I've made it clear in my public statements that the violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted. And anyone who commits it
But
should
you've
be
never
prosecuted.
called for the people, the leader, excuse me, sir. You have never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to bring in the National Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
They can, in fact, take care of it if he just stay out of the way. Look here.
Oh, really?
Here.
Oh, really?
Here's the thing.
I sent in the U.S. Marshals to
question.
get the killer of a young man in the middle of the street. They shot him. And for 3 days,
President Trump
Portland wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, his own former spokesperson said, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said that.
She said that. And so here's the point. The point is that's what he keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. Instead of going in and talking to people and saying, let's get everybody together, figure out how to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gasoline in the fire. constantly, and every single solitary
Okay,
time.
and to end this, button up this segment.
Notice it's always rhetoric, right? It's like he didn't really say anything specific. He just says, "You threw gasoline on the
He
fire."
doesn't want to get everybody together.
Yeah, he just wants to divide.
Talk it out.
He's dividing everybody. He divides the people. It's very empty rhetoric. It has its place. That's why they use it.
Joe knows he's got to appeal to like the literally dumbest low IQ segment of the society. That's his base, is the people that are only follow the most empty slogans.
Yeah.
Trump's got to appeal to people who own businesses, which requires some kind of IQ level to do that.
Right. Well, he wants to appeal to that. Trump also does a good job at appealing to internet culture. He tapped into
That's
that.
That's a good point.
Like Joe's like the mainstream media candidate. Trump's the internet troll candidate.
Right.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Say what?
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
Boys,
stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right wing.
He handled that one well. He did handle that well.
This is a left wing.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
He didn't denounce Proud Boys. He said stand
Antifa's
back.
An idea, not an organization. It's absolutely an organization.
Biden back. Let's go back for Biden. Let's hear Biden one more time.
White supremacists and
Who would
right
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not
Wow.
militia. That's what his
an idea.
FBI.
Total
his
bullshit.
There you go.
I mean, that right there, I think, might cost. You can
Yes.
argue that could cost.
Yeah.
Biden not just the debate, but I mean, who doesn't know that Antifa is an organization?
Dude, this is what's hard to gauge, though. It's like, how dumb are the dumbest of the dumb?
That's right. Yeah, good point.
How dumb are they? And with enough repetition, will they buy this?
Will they just buy it? Yeah, good point.
It is generally a referendum on his record. But Vice President Biden, you like to quote one of your dad's sayings, which is, don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the alternative. Looking at both of your records, I'm going to ask each of you, why should voters elect you president over your opponent? In this segment, President Trump, you go first, 2 minutes.
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite going through all of these things, where I had to fight both flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest, before COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good. Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling and they were saying it's time maybe. And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. A rebuilding of the.
Rat Splatigan just donated $10. Says, in a world where everyone is racist, your non-bigotry and nerdiness gives me hope. Thank you so much. We are.
Some people are speculating that Joe Biden is just a CGI presentation. He's not even real. I'm getting tweeted that.
At the VA, our vets, we take care of our vets, but we've rebuilt our military. The job.
Guys, make sure to support the stream, guys. We get no love from YouTube. They don't even share the dang videos. YouTube has kept our subscriber count frozen and actually been deleting subs every month since October 2019 at least. September, says Jessica. We gotta remind me. DB sends Canadian $2.50, says, if Biden isn't elected.
How dare you? How dare humanity as a species, the most destructive, the horriblest, the cruelest.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and go, and I'll point out that I will be over on the stream with Chrissy Mayer, Ann Coulter, and a bunch of other people after you close out your stream over on her channel, the comedian Chrissy Mayer, in about 15-20 minutes. So if you don't mind me plugging that.
Cool. All right, Jay's gonna go. Turncoat Jay Dyer is gonna go hang out with his Russian bot friends, and he's gonna go spout racial slurs and bigoted rhetoric against.
I'll give you your safe space. This is a woke, safe area. I'm sorry that I brought toxic masculinity here.
Yeah, just get it out of here. Look, come on, listen here, Jack. I'm the guy, Jack.
Tomorrow night, I'll see you tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Jay Dyer tomorrow night. Hey man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming. Surprise co-host Jay Dyer.
Come on, we had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. I guess that's what you could call this. When I talk to you, we could say that I had fun, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, whatever. No, we always love.
Enjoy your high D level penal colony.
Well, you come on tomorrow. We'll test your vitamin D in front of everybody, Jay Dyer. We'll see you tomorrow night. We're gonna have a debate with Jay Dyer. Well, he might not be. I don't know if it's gonna be a debate. They might not show up, but regardless, we're gonna have a fun stream. Jay, have a great night, man. It's always good seeing you, brother.
You too. Have a good night. Thanks.
Later, brother. Jay Dyer, everybody. Arch bigot Jay Dyer. He's finally gone, right? Hogging like almost a quarter of the stream. Almost a quarter of the screen with his freaking Jay Dyer looking face. Finally. All right, now we can get back to me just talking all alone into the mirror. With my wife giggling at me while she cross stitches, not knitting. She's not knitting, she's cross stitching.
Violence in America than there is today.
Here's Jessica. Who are you going to vote for?
It's on his
She's going to vote for me.
And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being and just being suckers. My son was in Iraq. He spent a year there. He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes. Really? And I resent.
Are you talking about Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
Oh, that's not true. It wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
He made a fortune.
My son,
and he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people, know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions of dollars?
All right, he wasn't given tens of millions of dollars. That is totally discredited.
We've already been. We've already been through this. I think the American people.
Jay doesn't miss the big guns, man. He's pulling out the big calibers.
Well, you know.
You're missing it, Jay.
Sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
Gets $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow.
Let's talk about that.
Gentlemen,
that is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report was written for political reasons.
You know, I'd like to talk about climate change.
So would I.
The forest fires are raging.
Woke Fox News. Let's talk about climate change now.
Have displaced hundreds of thousands of people.
Help climate change.
If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint, and people are actually
I'm sorry, we're a little bit behind. Let me back up a little bit.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator,
more substantial subjects like the fake ass climate change.
Moscow.
Let's talk about it, gentlemen. That report is totally discredited. Mitt Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report.
Mitt Romney, arch neocon, Bain Capital. Mitt Romney says that's discredited. Mitt Romney.
Are raging now. They have burned millions of acres. They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there,
even Fox is pushing it.
Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama.
So again, a big thing you're going to see in the next few years is going to be more talk about international regulations to stop climate change. They're even talking about, I shit you not, they're even talking about climate lockdowns now. Climate lockdowns. What did I tell you at the beginning of all this lockdown madness? How dare
you?
No, how dare you?
How dare humanity.
How dare
as a
you
species, the
interrupt
most
me?
destructive,
How dare you interrupt me? There you go. You're done, Michelle. Don't you interrupt me. So all this climate change stuff, all the climate change rhetoric, all the Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Sustainable Development Goals. Guess what? All the restrictions that you see with COVID worldwide, especially in the third world countries, guess what? It's exactly what these people are trying to push with the Green New Deal, with the Paris Accords, with the Agenda 21, Agenda 2030 madness. It's the exact same thing.
What do you believe about the science of
Same restrictions, right? Less mobility, right? Less ability to move around, less ability to drive. Right here in Ecuador, they made it to where you could only drive, what was it, 2 days a week for a while?
Yeah, with the 2 p.m. curfew.
Yeah, they introduced a 2 p.m. curfew here in Ecuador. And even in some of the rural areas, it was being enforced. 2 p.m. curfew, they implemented 2 p.m. curfew. They also implemented rules about driving. You could only drive every other day. You're still only supposed to drive like every other day in the province we live in here. We don't follow it here, but that's what's supposed to be happening. So it's all the same. Reduce your consumption, reduce your carbon footprint, which is basically a proxy for stop having things, stop having resources. Right? Make fuel more expensive. That's what all the Green New Deal stuff is about. It's not about protecting the environment. It's not about regenerating land like what we do here on our property, on our farm. It's about consolidating power and resources and land.
That problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, at some point, you can't every year have...
We'll jump forward. We were like a
President
minute
Biden,
behind.
I'd like
We'll
you
jump to the
respond
live part
to
right here.
the president's climate change record, but I also want to ask you about a concern. You proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2030.
So what does that mean? That means more expensive energy for everybody.
These things would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's absolutely wrong, number one. Number two, if in fact, during our administration, the Recovery Act, I was in charge, able to bring down the cost of renewable energy to cheaper than...
Got a super chat from Just4, donated $10 earlier, says, is Hunter in the audience brutal? Yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal. Trump went hard on that. And of course, the moderator interjected and ran interference for him. Very intense interference.
Energy, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that we are able to take the federal fleet and turn it into a fleet that's run on their electric vehicles. Making sure that we can do that, we're going to put 5
electric vehicles, which are more expensive, which require mined cobalt from the Congo, which require child slaves to mine that cobalt, which require lithium from places like Bolivia, where you see the State Department involved in coup d'etats last year. Right? Green New Deal is about robbing resources, consolidating resources, and making the third world dependent, and making it to where the third world is always dependent on transnational corporations run out of the city of London and New York and this global Anglo-American, global homo establishment.
Jobs, creating millions of good paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but prevailing wage, by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has no relationship.
So there's another issue where I tend to, the Paris Accord, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, all these UN climate agreements, these things are bullshit. Total scams. Some of the biggest scams ever concocted in the history of humanity. They're only trumped by other recent scams.
$20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then
this is not what it's about. It's not about stopping tearing down the forest, because deforestation happens to mine the cobalt and the well, not the lithium, but the cobalt that's going to have to be used for all these devices, for all these batteries, for all these electric vehicles.
He wants to make sure that
it's not about protecting the environment. It's about protecting profits. It's about consolidating resources, and it's about monetizing the environment.
Mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is a guy who says that Well, the fact is, it's all true. And here's
We're
the deal.
talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not 2 billion or 20 billion, as you said.
It's trillions.
$100 trillion.
I'm talking about
Where they want to
the
rip down
Go for a
buildings
minute and then you can go.
and rebuild the building.
No,
It's the
that
dumbest,
is not-
most
that
ridiculous,
is not-
where airplanes are out of
Wait a minute,
business,
that's it.
where two-car systems are out, where they
Not
want
true.
to take out the cows too.
Not
You know, that's not
true.
true either, right?
Not
This
true.
is a 100
Simply,
trillion.
look,
That's more money than our
is-
country could make.
They want to
in a-
tax your exhalations. They have labeled your exhalations environmental toxins. They're telling you that your livestock, the animals that we need to stay alive, the animals that we keep to feed our own family here on our own land, they're telling us those are toxic for the environment. They're bad for the planet. They're telling you your babies are bad for the planet. Your exhalations are poison. This is dehumanization.
Would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
Biden's lost
It's going
now.
to create thousands and millions of jobs.
Thousands and millions.
Let him finish, sir.
He doesn't know how to do that.
$100 billion.
The fact is, it's going to create millions of good paying jobs.
Remember the Christine Lagarde, Brave New World, I almost called the World Bank the Brave New World. The World Bank, IMF, Christine Lagarde, European Bank, all on board with this Green New Deal shit.
He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them. They may.
I never said that.
That's
at all.
what he did say.
You made it up.
And here's the deal.
You make up a
we are going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now, on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happening just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. That didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. But the rest of the world, we've got to get them to come along. That's why we have to get back into the Paris Accord.
All right, gentlemen.
Wait a minute, Chris. So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends up real dirt into the air. Russia does. India does. They all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way, he made a couple of statements. The Green New Deal is $100 trillion.
That is
not
not
20 billion.
my plan.
That's
The Green
well.
New
We want to
Deal
rebuild every
is not
building.
my plan.
I want to rebuild
All right,
every.
if he knew anything
wait a
about,
minute,
if he knew
gentlemen,
He
anything
made a
about,
statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
What
not
he
true.
did
Sir,
is he
you're done in
said
this segment.
he called
Mr.
the
Vice-
military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
And he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape. He said
Mr.
stupid
Please,
bastards. He
no.
said it.
Stop.
I would never
I
say
would
that.
Play
Stop.
it. Play it.
Go ahead, Mr.
You're on
Vice
tape.
President. Answer.
Half of this debate is just Wallace yelling at him.
Question is, I can't remember which of all his rantings.
Mr. President.
I'm having a little trouble myself, but and about the economy
He
and about
couldn't
this
even
question of
remember.
what
He
it
didn't even
cost.
remember.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
The Green New Deal will
crazy.
pay for itself as we move forward. You're not going to build.
Wait, he said he didn't. He said his plan wasn't the Green New Deal, but the Green New Deal will pay for itself.
Pardon me?
You support?
No, I don't support the Green New Deal.
Don't.
But it'll pay for
that's a
itself.
misstatement.
I
That
support
means you
the
just
Biden.
lost the radical left.
I support the Biden plan that I put forward.
Okay.
The Biden
The
plan,
Biden
which is
plan.
different than what
Come
he
on.
calls the radical Green New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment, election integrity. As we meet tonight, millions of Americans are receiving mail-in ballots or going to vote early. How confident should we be that this will be a fair election? And what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks? Because it'll not only be to Election Day, but also counting some ballots, mail-in ballots after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election in this final segment?
Trump really should have called him out right there for saying that his plan is not the Green New Deal, but then for saying the Green New Deal will pay for itself. He should have really reiterated that. Of course, Wallace won't let him, but he should have really nailed that home. Direct
The FBI
contradiction.
director says there was no evidence at all that mail-in ballots are a source of being manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida, number one. Number two, We're going to make sure that those people who want to vote in person are able to vote because enough poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance. The polls are open on time, and the polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying to dissuade people from voting because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election. And in terms of whether or not when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that will be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control.
Guys, make sure. Go out there.
This country's going to look like the next 4 years.
Hey, everybody.
Is it going to change?
This is the most important election ever. You go make sure you vote. Go put in your vote in the electronic voting machines. Go put your vote in on the electronic voting machines where you have no idea if it's counting your vote or not. The Diebold electronic voting machines. Remember Diebold? Wasn't Donald Rumsfeld involved with Diebold? Didn't Donald, wasn't he like the CEO of Diebold? Go vote in the Diebold voting machines. Because it's totally real. It's so real.
First Lady, they were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country, and we've caught them. We've caught them all.
It's like even without the mail-in ballots, do people not realize the voter fraud that is rampant? Do people not realize that, I think it was it 2004? There was a guy, and I've tried to find this video recently, like a year ago. I tried to find this video. I don't know if it's been scrubbed from the internet or if it's just a little bit harder to find. But there was some testimony from a guy that was saying that his job, I think he designed some of these electronic voting machines, and he talked about his job was he was tasked with hacking them. And he said that these are not secure at all. Right? Who makes the voting machines?
Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen. The other thing, it's nice on November 3rd, you're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? We won't know. We might not know for months because these ballots are going to be all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places. They're not losing 2%, 1%, which, by the way, is too much. An election could be won or lost with that. They're losing 30 and 40%. It's a fraud, and it's a shame. And can you imagine where they say you have to have your ballot in by November 10th? November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election, in theory.
How hard do you think Biden's focusing to keep his mouth closed? To not just sit there with like the open mouth, the open mouth 1,000-yard Biden stare.
You have been charging for
I gotta say, Biden is sharper than I would have expected.
You say it's rigged.
Sharper than I expected
tonight. But in 2018, in the last midterm election, 31 million people voted mail-in voting. That was a quarter, more than a quarter of all the voters that year cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so. Because what's happening is incredible. I read today, where at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them, we don't like them, we don't like them.
But what are you going to do about it? There are millions of ballots going out right now.
What you do is you go and vote. You do a solicited ballot, and that's okay, or you go and vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people...
You go and vote. You go and vote, like they used to in the old...
Millions of people...
You either do, Chris, a solicited ballot, where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending... They have mailmen with lots of it. Did you see what's going on? Take a look at West Virginia, mailmen selling the ballots. They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers. This is a horrible thing for our country.
There is no.
This is not.
There is no.
This is not
evidence
going
of
to
that.
end well.
There is
Okay.
no
This
evidence
is
of that.
not going
Vice
to
President
end
Biden-
well.
5 states
fact,
have had
go ahead,
mail-in
sir.
ballots for the last decade or more. 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're saying is, they're saying is that it has to be a postmark by the time, by election day. If it doesn't get in till the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes because
You're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I want to continue with you on this, Vice President Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes a statement like that.
Excuse me, Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It has been that sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is,
what's with Wallace still running interference, right? Pushing the rhetoric.
Any court would settle this because here's the deal: when you get a ballot and you fill it out, you're supposed to have an affidavit. If you didn't know, you have someone say that this is me. You should be able to, if in fact you can verify that's you before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say it's you, that is totally legitimate.
All right.
Excuse me, Chris, when you have 80 million ballots
I have a final
sending
question.
and swamping the system, you know it can't be done. You know it can't, and already
All
there's
right.
been
So now,
fraud.
Mail
deception.
service delivers
gentlemen, in the
185
final
million
question
pieces of mail a
is,
day.
in 8
ballots.
states, we can keep talking.
He won't let-
In 8 states, election workers are prohibited, currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes.
Okay, says Biden used to deliver mails. Oh, man.
Mail-in ballots, but we are not going to know on election the winner is, that it could be days, it could be weeks,
could be months,
until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified?
Independently certified by who?
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In Philadelphia, they went in to watch. They're called poll watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia, bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what.
Trump should push harder on this. He should be telling people to film this shit, right? Document the crimes that they see being committed. Document the fraud, right? I mean, if he's going to come in, he's going to nuke the Republican Party. He's going to take down the Republican establishment, which he hasn't really done, right? He's still surrounded by a lot of neocons. A lot of the same shit's still getting pushed, right? But, you know, in a certain way, he kind of did. He kind of really destroy this old guard Republican establishment. He kind of did wedge his way in there as a populist candidate, for better or for worse. A lot of people hate him. So he's so divisive. But, you know, he did push back against globalism. He did wedge himself in there and kind of destroy people's perception of the Republican and Democratic parties. I think what he needs to do now is he needs to go against the fake electoral process and expose the massive fraud that's going on there. You know, I mean, if people don't already know, if you didn't understand that this was, you know, back in 2004, if you didn't already know that this was all a big scam, shit, I don't know what to say.
That somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been established. Take a look at Carolyn Maloney's race.
And what does this talk about? You know, independent. You pledge that independent will have independent monitors. What does that mean? We got Rat Splatterkin says, "Ooh, maybe the UN could monitor the election." Right? What do you want the UN to come in? You want the World Bank? You know, let's get the World Bank to come in. Let's get the IMF to come in. independent fact checkers from Facebook.
And if it's me, I'll support the outcome. And I'll be a president not just for the Democrats, I'll be a president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy,
I want to see an honest ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this debate?
Honest ballot count.
We're going to leave it there. To be continued as in more debates as we go on. President Trump, Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both for participating in the first of 3 debates that you have agreed to engage in. We want to thank Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic for hosting this event. The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. The 2 vice presidential nominees, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris, will debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch. Until then, thank you and good night. Thank you.
Yeah, keep it rolling. There it is, folks.
Our future.
Melania comes up. What's up with this? Photo op with the wives. Joe gropes his wife. His wife wears a mask. Oh, man. Jill Biden. Jill Biden with the mask. Good global citizen. Jill Biden. Good global citizen, Jill Biden. Thank you so much, Jill.
Greatest president of all time. Love you, Trump.
Empty audience. Come on, how you gonna have a presidential debate with an empty audience? You got no audience.
Legally.
How you gonna do that? Dell, what's up, Dell? How's it going, man? Dell's asking if I got his Streamlabs. Your Streamlabs didn't come through, man. He says, did you receive my Streamlabs donation? Dell Bridge, I don't see that one, man. I'm looking at the back end here. What's up with that? I have been. Let's see. I've been getting notifications. Oh no, there it is. Dell Bridge. Dell Bridge. Sent a super chat. Let's see if we can get that to go through. Ah, I know what happened. I muted it. There we go. Here we go. Now, let's see if it goes through. All right, guys. The debate is over. The most important debate ever. Did you guys learn so much? I learned so much. I learned so much. I learned so much in that debate. I want to thank Chris Wallace for being just so neutral. So neutral in that debate, right?
So
Brave,
I got my
stunning.
D levels tested once before I supplemented, and I had the D levels of an institutionalized elder. Like these people who are like in nursing homes.
Del Bridge testing his D level, sending $15 through Super Chat or through Streamlabs. Streamlabs is the best way to send those chats. It says we need to take care of our countrymen through our own means, not by voting. The Amish had it right by producing their own communities, taking care of small businesses and family farms. That's what's up, right? You can control what happens in your neighborhood. You can control what happens in your family. Now, you can control what happens in your small neighborhoods, in your small families, in your local communities. Okay, so this is important. This is what is real. Right? Actually building real relationships with your neighbors, knowing your neighbors, right? Having good water, good food supply locally, right? Building up your homesteads. This is why we do what we do. That's why we're out here in our little small family farm in the middle of nowhere here, living as we do. Cows and sheep and chicken and ducks. That's why we're out here advocating for big, small family farms, shilling for big, small family farms. That's what's up. These politicians aren't going to save you. You're not going to save yourself by voting your guy in. That's not going to happen. Del Bridge, thanks for the super chat, man. What else is going on, guys? We got another stream tomorrow. Jay Dyer coming on tomorrow. Tomorrow at about the same time. Actually, I think we're starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m. I think a vegan or two are going to jump on. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they're going to actually show up. If they do, they do. If not, then we'll just keep streaming. Jay Dyer coming on. We're going to have a fun stream tomorrow. What else? You guys want to keep going? We got some decent support today. We had a few people jumping in and supporting the stream through the super chats, through the through the Streamlabs. Streamlabs, best way to support. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? You guys gonna go vote? You're gonna go put your vote in the electronic voting machine that you can totally trust. You can totally trust that electronic voting machine will be counting your vote, right? Right? You can trust Diebold and Donald Rumsfeld. We can trust them. Our votes will be counted as the machines want them to be counted. Let's talk about stem cells and gorillas and DMT. Hey, bro, this is not the. I'm sorry, this is not JRE. I mean, we got a JRE fan in there, Jimmy. Stem cells, gorillas, and DMT. What if you gave chimps? Do you know how strong chimps are? Do you know that if you give a chimp DMT, makes it 10 times as strong? Why do we give Israel $3 billion a year? Greatest ally, obviously. Thank you, super chatters, carrying us poor. Timmy Hamilton. You guys, all you super chatters and Streamlabbers, super chatters and Streamlabbers are helping out the bigots like Timmy over there. They call him Tiny Tim.
So please, sir, may you send some more super chats so Tristan will keep streaming, sir. We'll keep streaming, sir.
Little Big Head is demanding Terrence McKenna impression with no prompt. And no super chat. I mean, you want impressions. I need prompts. Right? What are you talking? Who's Terrence McKenna going to vote for? Who's Terrence McKenna bummed is not on the ballot?
Well, I think it's a shame that we didn't put the mushroom on the ballot. Because if we would all vote for the mushrooms, and we would all ingest the psychedelic mushrooms, then we could communicate with the forces behind the stream, behind the curtains. And then the self-transforming machine elves could tell us all the secrets of the universe and help us to become gods. This is Terrence McKenna endorsing Greta Thunberg for president in 2020. Okay, shroomers. The mushroom 2020.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up, guys. Kelly votes for the World Bank. You guys like these streams, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to share it, make sure to like it, make sure to support it through the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Streaming tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then.